Welcome to my Self-Care Shit, the podcast, where we talk about what true self-care looks and feels like. I'm your host, Kathy Love, two-time TEDx speaker, author, and self-care coach. Each week, we'll have honest conversations on how to create the peace and stability we crave in our lives.
Your lip gloss looks fantastic.
Thank you. It's my whole makeup routine at this point. Oh, this is so fun.
I'm ready. We're doing this. We're fucking doing this.
We are finally fucking doing this.
Right? Like, I'm like, nothing is coming in between this happening.
My guest today is Courtney Turich, the Global VP of Sales and Marketing for Cooler Heads that protect the dignity, privacy, and identity of cancer patients. She is the podcast host of Bold Moves, Confident Choices, wife and mother, Shark Tank alum, and most importantly, one of my dearest friends who in the less than a year has become such a big part of me being my best self and even starting this podcast. So those are just a few of the things that she does, but I want you to get to know the person who she is. Hi, Courtney.
Kathy, oh my gosh, what a beautiful intro. And just listening to it almost brings tears to my eyes.
Me too. Me too. I'll never forget when my first introduction to you was at the Outlier. Well, it wasn't my first introduction to you. My first in-person meetup with you was at the Outlier Project retreat in October. And the energy that I had met online and the person I had met online was suddenly there in person with those jazz hands going. And yes, and I just saw this woman who I want to say envied, and I don't like to use that word, but you had something that I wanted, and it was that boldness to be exactly who you are and not to hide it. And for that, I was envious. And that is what you've helped me embrace over the last 8 months. And I remember our phone call right after the retreat. And I said to you, I'm really struggling because at the retreat, I felt like my boldest, best self, but I've come home and I don't feel that way anymore. And I was questioning, was I faking it at the retreat? I didn't think I was faking it. That's how I really felt. I was so happy and peaceful and positive and believing that everything was possible and grateful for everything that had happened. And so you and I had a really great conversation about that and about what it's like to just feel that and be that and embrace it. And it's because we know it's coming from a real place. And from that time on, I have been living my boldest, best life. And it's really just getting started. And this is a big part of it. So I will always thank you for that.
You are so welcome, Kathy. You know, hearing you talk about that moment really helps me to reflect back and to share that, Kathy, I wasn't always that bold, confident individual. It's evolved over time, and it's something that I've had to reflect on myself to really look at what makes me unique. What are my strengths? What am I bringing to this world that makes me feel good about myself, that makes me shine? And once we can embrace that within ourselves, we really find ways to be unstoppable. And then we start attracting the people in our life that are doing the same thing. It's really powerful.
And you attract people with your energy because I have talked to several people, some who have recently joined the Outlier Project, and they said they came to the community because of you, because of your energy that they saw online. They hadn't talked to you, they hadn't met you. It was your energy that drew them in. And I love that because I believe that about you. I know that about you.
So, Kathy, when you say energy, it's really, and I keep hearing this. So I'm trying to lean into what you just said because I do hear that from a lot of people. I don't always know what that is and what it means, but it just keeps me at a level of being my authentic self. So when I started to share my voice on LinkedIn, that was a platform I decided to really put myself out on. I told myself if I'm going to do it, I have to show up as myself. I have to be vulnerable. I have to be real. I have to be authentic. I don't always have to look my best because that is life, right? Like people want to see real life. We're sick of seeing um, how life should be because it's not reality. I don't care how perfect somebody comes across on social media, their life is not perfect. No one is. And when I go back to looking at the strengths that I possess, Kathy, one of my top 5 strengths through the Gallup Strength Finder is positivity. And
No surprise here.
I used to squash that a lot. It's something that I've had to learn to deal with because it's a fine line on positivity. You want to be positive, but you also have to make sure that you're looking at the real situation, right? Because I'm not always looking at it through rose-colored glasses. You have to take a step away and be like, okay, is what I'm perceiving and what I'm actually feeling true? But I do know that people are craving positivity in this world right now. There's so much that is happening, and people are just looking to see the good in others.
That's so fascinating to me to think that you almost pulled away from that positivity a little bit and questioned it. But I know the positivity that you show isn't that rose-colored glass. It's what's positive about this situation. It's what can I learn? What can we do with what we have? And how can we do a little bit better? And that it's the belief that things are working out the way they're supposed to, and you're meeting the
Yes.
right people at the right time. That's the positivity I see in you.
And that is the positivity I truly feel. I never want to come across that I'm in your face. I do love to respect other space, something that I really pride myself on. And I believe it's a reason people are attracted to me. I'm a very good listener.
Hmm.
I engage. And for that, that makes people feel seen. And I know how to encourage them and be that cheerleader for them to find and see their strengths and their possibilities.
For sure. And I've gotten to experience that because since the retreat, there are 4 of us that you started our little breakfast club to get together every Saturday morning to talk, but also to listen and
Yeah.
also to cheer. And I have a secret idea of bringing all of us on this podcast and do a group call to just show the level of that relationship that's been created with people who are all great listeners and great cheerleaders and are vulnerable and honest enough to share what they're really going through. That's how we've gotten so close. It's not by getting on the call and just saying how great everything is.
Right.
And the your being bold, I know from being a friend of yours, is an evolution. It's a constant choice, right? Would you say it's a choice for you?
It is a constant choice. And Kathy, I still have to push past the fear sometimes of being bold. Not every conversation for me is easy. But I do know that if you don't speak up for yourself, no one else will. And to me, that is one of the biggest aspects of self-care, Kathy, is number one, being bold enough to put yourself first. I have I have learned that over the past several years, and there are times when I have ran myself into the ground because I am trying to please everyone else but myself ultimately in the end. But once I started making myself a priority, nobody's coming in between that.
Love that. And speaking of self-care and my self-care shit, I got to practice my TEDx on your couch.
Yes,
That
you did.
just reminded me of that. I got to practice with you, and that was such a special experience to be able to do that. Would you mind sharing the story about you going into the gym?
So for everyone out there, I am a Tracy Anderson addict. I've been doing her, she has studios across the US, but really in major cities like New York, LA, Miami. So I've been doing her workout virtually since end of 2018. I was in New York not long ago for an Outlier Project event, and I decided I'm going to go to my first Tracy Anderson studio experience. And I walk into this beautiful studio, and all of a sudden, Kathy, I started looking around at everyone in the room. I start looking at myself in the mirror, and these feelings of I don't belong start to come to the surface. Major imposter syndrome is hitting me. I am really wondering, wow, I really need to put myself in the back of the room, which I did,
Mm.
even though I do her workouts faithfully 5 to 7 days a week. So I'm not foreign to the workout at all. But I instantly started looking at all these women comparing myself. And it really, that's the moment I started to feel myself curl up into the shell. I was losing myself in the moment. It's a horrible feeling.
And that's where the choice comes in, right?
Yes. And it wasn't until we started moving and I got into my own skin and I just put that aside and I just felt the music, did what I knew how to do. And by the end, I was smiling. It felt amazing. I was keeping up with all the women in the room. And I walked out really just reflecting on the moment, a little bit of ashamed of myself for allowing my mind to go there. But I know that I walked in with fear. I walked out with my head high, feeling confident, my shoulders back, and feeling really good about what I just accomplished.
I love that because when we talk about codependency, so much of it is fear-based. It's
Mm.
fear of being judged. It's fear of not being good enough. It's fear of what other people are thinking or saying about you. And it's keeping ourselves small and in the back. And
Yeah,
so I love that you were able to recognize it in the moment and also work through it. And I mean, you post your Tracy Anderson videos online
yeah,
of you doing the
yeah.
workouts, and you look like a pro at them. And
Thank
so
you.
I only bring that up because I want people to understand that no matter how good everything looks and no matter where we are, that the things that we struggle with, deal with, think about that hold us back, we can make progress, but they tend to come back and they tend to come back in different situations. You're in a new place, new people, and it is just our in our healing where we look at that and we're like, okay, here it is again, and but I know the truth now. I know who
Yeah.
I am now, and I know what I'm worth now, and so I'll just let that go.
Right. And Kathy, this is something all of us consistently and constantly have to work on. And, you talk about just moments. I consider myself a change agent, Kathy. I love change. I embrace change. And as you know, I'm going through another life move where I'm moving from Charlotte, North Carolina to Asheville. While I'm excited, the fear started to creep in big time. I was scared. I was getting emotional. I was questioning myself, even though it's something that I've been talking about for 4 years. And for everyone out there, it honestly was not until I listened to your episode with our dear friend Jennifer Chapman that I hadn't reflected back on every single move I've made in my life. I've lived in 9 different cities in 23 years, 16 different homes. And it was listening to you and Jennifer talking about adaptability and what that looks like through change that it helped me pull back all those thoughts that were starting to stir in my head. And I will tell you, ever since then, Kathy, it's gone. My fear is gone. I'm taking it day by day. I'm embracing the change because I know I can do it. I know I can work through it, and I'm going to be fine.
I love that. I love that because it's not that what you heard about adaptability or what you knew about yourself was new. It's a reminder. That's
Mhm.
all we do is we just remind each other. You
Yes.
remind me to be bold and make confident choices. I remind people, hopefully, to get their self-care shit together and take care of themselves and put themselves first. We're on this path to just keep reminding each other. And I,
Yes.
I'm a big fan, stalker fan of your podcast, and I knew you when you started it. So how was that? How much boldness did that take for you to push record and get started?
What's crazy, Kathy? It took me months. It took me months. I talk about being bold. I talk about doing things. It took me 8 months until I hit the record button. And I will tell you, even when I go back to my Shark Tank days and we started that company, I will always say the hardest part is just getting started. Once you cross over that first episode, that first sale, or whatever you do in life, it becomes a lot easier. So,
And you seem like you're having fun and the conversations that you're having and the guests that you're having. I just love it. I love it. And it
well,
definitely pushed me to be bold and do mine.
when you get to hear about everybody reflecting on their big, bold, pivotal moment in life that has catapulted them professionally or personally, it helps us all to reflect and to realize we can do this. Very similar to our community at the Outlier Project.
Right.
I came into this community and I started to realize it's normal to have a podcast. It's normal to have a book, to write a book. It's normal to be a TEDx speaker. It's normal to start your business. It's because everyone I'm surrounding myself with, they're constantly elevating their game. And when we put ourselves in that environment, it causes us to do the same.
Yes, absolutely. And we've had this debate as well, is that it seems normal for us because the people in the Outlier Project have a lot of them have done these things that you just mentioned, but in the whole scope of things, they are a little outlierish still to get
Yes.
up on the TEDx stage, to publish a book, to start a podcast. And so those things don't just happen for everyone all the time. And for me, I needed that community of people supporting me. You started the podcast group in the Outlier Project for people who were either interested or doing one to get together. And I looked around the room and I thought, if everybody else here is doing this, there's no reason why I can't give it a try. And I'm so happy that I did because I absolutely love doing this and having these conversations and reminding people that self-care is close by. It's in the connecting to yourself, that being bold is a choice for everyone. Everyone has that choice, no matter
Yes.
what.
There's one thing you can't take away from yourself in life, and that is the opportunity of choice. You will always have a choice in whatever you do in life. And I always say, whatever choice you make, you embrace it and you enjoy the ride because you're going to learn no matter what path you take, you're going to grow. You're going to survive. You're going to get through it.
Absolutely. We have no idea, and we would never have an idea if we didn't start. I mean, this is, this is the very beginning for both of us, and we really
Yes.
don't know where it's going to go. We have two friends who started podcasts who are now on TV, their podcasts, and now they're on TV shows. Like, you just really, that wasn't predicted. Nobody knew that that was going to happen. And not that that has to be the goal. I'm just saying, when you start something, you really don't know where it's going.
You're right. You don't know where it's going. And I'm just all about embracing the journey. For me, when I started my podcast, I knew I wanted to help others, Kathy. I wanted to share people's voice. For me, it was all about just showing up and being consistent. It's a passion project for me. My number one career is cooler heads. helping cancer patients minimize hair loss. And this is something I do to really just keep a fire inside me and to help keep a fire in others.
Mm-hmm. The living your life in this bold way is so much more fun, isn't it? I mean, your jazz hands can, bring up the energy in any room.
1,000%. And I want everybody to challenge themselves on this because everybody can be bold. Everyone has been bold. But I want you to go back and start from when you left high school. If you want to start earlier, you can. And I want you to sit down and I want you to document every little thing you've done, from a move to maybe a vacation to anything. Don't discount everything that's happened in your life, good or bad, because those bad things are just as bold as those good things. And those things that went bad, at some point down the line, you had to make a bold move to pivot and to change your life. So when you can go back and see every little thing you've done, you will start to feel the boldness inside. You will start to feel the confidence. You will start to light up in every aspect of your body. So that's when I tell people, when you see that in yourself, you roll your shoulders back, you hold your head up high, and you go be you. Because we all have it in us.
We do. I love that so much. Thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. Your energy, your boldness, your love of life and sharing and learning and growing and being a part of the Outlier Project is just such a gift to me. And I'm so thankful for you and our friendship. And we'll have to talk to the other two Saturday morning crew and see if we can get everybody on a call. But I would love that so much. So is there anything else you want to share with everyone?
To just remind everybody to lean into your community, surround yourself with amazing people, and more importantly, go be bold, be confident, and be you. You can do it.
Yes. And go get your self-care shit together. Thank you, Courtney.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, Kathy, for having me.
Thank you for being here.
All right, friend.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Great job making time for yourself today. Be sure to subscribe to my Self-Care Shit, the podcast, wherever you listen in. Your 5-star review will help get this show to whoever needs to hear it. Go grab your free daily self-care checklist on my selfcareshit.com. Please take the last minute of this podcast for yourself to listen to the ocean waves and breathe.